Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand 10 a.m. show. It's not Mark Goldbridge. I know a lot of people were in the chat saying, come on, Mark, get on time. But it's me today. You're stuck with me. Today's news we're going to get into is Rangnick absolutely slams the United board. A little bit on Martial also. And a little bit on David De Gea as well. His contract situation is obviously, well, not just his, but a fair few people's contract situations are coming to a head, and we need to be resolving these or necessarily bringing in some players to replace them. But first off, we're going to get straight into it, and a tweet that we can bring up on the screen that Ralf Rangnick has said that basically he tried to get Alvaro Morata, Dusan Vlahovic, Christopher Nkunku, Gvardiol, Luis Diaz, and Erling Haaland, but the club refused winter transfers. Now, this actually is nuts. This actually is crazy to me. I think, in all honesty, I mean, obviously we weren't going to sign all of them, right? Like, it's not a case that we were going to go out and sign every single one. There's like three strikers there, and look, um, Morata's a stinker. You don't. I mean, he's the only one. He's the only one that I would be like, no, we don't want to go and get Morata. But look, like, and these guys now are basically untouchable, right? Apart from Morata, forget he even said Morata. Vlahovic is obviously at Juventus, and I just can't. I mean, they're not. They're obviously out of the Champions League. They're not doing too good, but I just don't see us ever going and getting him. Christopher Nkunku looks like he's pretty much dead set on going to Chelsea in not January next summer, but done in January. Gvardiol looks like it'd be way too expensive. I think Chelsea were also interested. They got a bid rejected of something like 80 million for him in the summer. Luis Diaz has obviously moved on to Liverpool, and Erling Haaland again to one of our rivals, City. And for me, I think yeah, it's ridiculous that when you've got a guy like Ranić who's such a good player, such a good person who knows about the players and talent, and it's not just like well-known players that this guy knows. He obviously knows players that are young, up and coming talents. I think he even suggested a while ago, obviously mentioned about Sesko, and look when he's kind of been through the ranks at Leipzig and Salzburg as well, and kind of done various roles there. It's easy for him to obviously pick the players that have been at that clubs, and look, and Kunku's at Leipzig. I think it's just so disappointing for me. Honestly, it's so disappointing. I mean, obviously they're all, as I say, untouchable. Where are they now? I've just said, and yeah, they'll. It's just so silly. It's so silly. But I think it shows the intent that Ranić had. He did mention that pretty much the squad needed an overhaul. It needed, I can't remember. He said he needed like 10 or 11 players or something like that. And I mean, there's what, six there or something. So it shows that he did want to, he did want to improve the squad. And I think he came in November, I want to say, didn't he? And I mean, there was right. So I imagine if you were to categorize these players, let me get them back up. If you were to categorize these players, I wonder what he would have had as kind of like pick A, B, C, and gone like that. Obviously, Gvardiol's a defender, left back, kind of centre back. Vlahovic, Morata, and Erling Haaland are obviously all kind of number nines, and then Diaz is a winger, and Nkunku's kind of like an attacking mid type position. But for me, I think it's just honestly so ridiculous that you've got this guy that wanted to help Manchester United, and it just I mean, we don't even really know the true and real reason as to why he's been, he got basically sacked, didn't he? Really, let's be honest with you. He got sacked. He got sacked. Mark is saying here these statements just show how incompetent our board and owners are. Yes, mate. It shows the Glazers didn't want to spend anything. It didn't, and look, and you can relate it to obviously this window, and we look at Manchester United, and we're doing all right. Okay, that's as far as I'm going to go. We're doing all right. The performances are starting to pick up, especially the result against Spurs, and obviously the performance against Chelsea. And these are the teams which you look at. Open heart surgery, correct? You are correct, guys. But we're looking at here a positive trajectory at the minute, let's say. And for me, I just think that we need to capitalize on it, especially with the World Cup, right? Like, so many teams are going to go into this period with I mean, look at Liverpool. Injuries galore. If I'll be very, very shocked if Liverpool in the January market don't go out and buy, strengthen their midfield, let's say, for instance, or strengthen other areas of the pitch. Off topic, but you resemble a younger Beckham member. Beckham, not Beckham. I don't know who that is. Rimbic, member for 5 months. Cheers, man. I'll take that as a compliment. Younger Beckham. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Wonder the right foot. But yeah, no, I think again, it's just it just shows how important this January transfer window is going to be. And look, usually the stereotypical thing is that in January you don't tend to see much activity when you compare it to the summer window, right? Like the summer window is like the main window. It's obviously longer. A lot more planning goes into that window, and then the January window is maybe if you get an injury, like for instance, Newcastle, their signing Isaac is injured and is out for ages. They might just want to go out and spend like a 20-30 mil on another striker or something like that, and as like a backup to this guy. But at Manchester United, look, I just don't see him going and doing anything in January, and this is why it's so frustrating. We need to capitalize on the momentum that we've obviously got. We've got West Ham, I think, and this is obviously isn't in order. And just in the Premier League, we've got West Ham, Villa, Fulham. I think are the last. Are they the only games we've got in the Premier League? Obviously, we're playing Sheriff tonight. We've got Real Sociedad as well. Huge game there. I just think, look, it's ridiculous. It's so silly. And I think obviously if the role that he was meant to take up, this constituency role or advisory role, whatever it was going to be, if he was going to move into this, it shows how much he would have been able to help, in my opinion, with future signings, with recommendations, with new young talent, because that is the main thing, right? As much as Manchester United want to go out and they want to sign these big names, big important players, like Varane, like your Casemiro, all these types of players. But you want to also bring in some young, exciting talent. Morning, Chaz, says Charlie. From one Charlie to another. Cheers, buddy. Morning to you. But yeah, there's lots to touch on today, as I said. But how far are we going to be left behind, realistically? How far are we going to be left behind? We're, in my opinion, I think Erik ten Hag is already fighting a losing battle. An uphill battle, I think the saying is actually. He's already fighting an uphill battle, right? It's just not fair. It's not fair, guys. I sound like a whiny little child, but I'm serious. It's actually not fair. You've got Chelsea. You spent. I know, obviously, we spent a hefty amount, 200 million or something like that. But you've got Chelsea that have done it, and no doubt they will go and spend, another sum of money in January. I don't doubt that Newcastle will. I mean, look, even Arsenal, if they've got any sense, will. I don't expect Man City to. I don't think Man City would need to buy another player for the next 10 years. They'll still be up there no matter what. It's ridiculous, their squad. And this is the main thing, right? Like, our strength in depth is pretty poor. I'll be honest with you. Like, our starting 11, and I look back to the Chelsea game, like our starting 11, I look at it and I go, okay, like our starting 11 is better here. But when you look at our bench and the impact that our bench doesn't have compared to Chelsea's bench, it's night and day. And I think it's a pretty poor situation to be in. And you never really want to just buy someone for the sake of bolstering your squad. Obviously, you want to buy someone with the intent of them being a crucial part of the team. And I see a lot of you people in the chat, obviously mentioning Cody Gakpo, a brilliant player. I think he's got the most goal contributions across Europe's top 5 leagues, even better than Haaland. Incredible stats. It's just for me that the board have kind of come out and said, we're focusing on the summer, all this blah. No, go out there, get 2 players, even if it's 2, a right back and a striker. Look, and especially if Ronaldo goes, and I don't want to touch on Ronaldo for this stream. I know how much it divides opinion, and I've divided opinion on Twitter. Nothing more really needs to be said about Ronaldo. For me, anyway, in regards at the current moment. But I just think Gakpo's not a striker. But look, this is the thing, right? We signed Martial as a winger. He was a winger, right? And he's now who most of Man United fans are wanting to be as our main number 9 ahead of Cristiano Ronaldo. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to think that who would have said, Martial's had this huge turnaround that at the start of the summer it was not really interested in Martial, he can leave. He's not very good. And now look, we're crying for this guy to come back in our team. We're absolutely crying out for Martial to come back because he works in Ten Hag's system. And it's really important, I think. And as I've mentioned that, basically my thoughts, on how important this transfer window is going to be for other clubs, and I just think we need to be included in that. It's genuinely, when I think basically about the possibility of not necessarily who we can go and sign, because I think you there's I feel like this January market will definitely be time to bolster the squad as a whole, and I'm not sure what you guys think. Obviously, let me know in the comments. I just think it's time to bolster the squad. We're on an upwards trajectory in terms of momentum, results, and for me, it is very, very important to capitalize on that, and especially if some of our players that go to the World Cup do end up obviously getting injured, or whether it's getting burnt out, or for whatever reason, we then go out and buy some players in January and we have some squad depth. Because realistically, when I look on that bench, it is diabolical. It's not ideal, and I hate looking at it. I hate looking at Fred on the bench. You know what? I hate the fact, and this I don't know if this sounds weird because it's very much a Manchester United thing, but I hate the fact that uh, we're using youngsters on the bench, and I feel like it is because we're using them for the sake of having a youngster on the bench, because our squad is just so thin. That's the reason we have, and I'm not saying they're not good enough, Garnacho, and sometimes we've had, in the past that like Shoretire and kind of Iqbal, etc. on the bench. I just think I just think we're using them for the sake of it, because we don't have enough good talent within our squad, and it's terrible. But and again, I see a load of people obviously mentioning Gakpo. Would personally be my, I mean, maybe yeah, I think striker would be my top priority going into the January transfer window. I think again, look, we just don't know what's going to happen with Ronaldo. I'll be honest with you, especially if Ronaldo goes in January, it's gonna be a little bit of a sticky one. I'll be honest with you. Mark says the youth are not good enough. Interesting. I mean, it depends, really. It depends. We haven't seen them in a kind of situation, really. You've got a few out on loan. You've got Hannibal, who's at Birmingham, I think. Um, but the main one for me is Garnacho. I'd love to see Garnacho play a part tonight. Sorry, my bloody earphone keeps falling out. Yeah, I'd love to see Garnacho play a part tonight. I think it would be really, really good for him. I think it'd be. Wait, no, no, no. Has it gone? Has my sound gone? Hello? Can you hear me? Oh God! Technical difficulties, left, right, and centre. I will not touch the mic again. Yeah, but I mean, look, for me, Rangnick will go back to the signings. Haaland, obviously untouchable. Won't trade City for United. I think even if we were to win the league this season, he's earning a ridiculous amount of money. I think, wasn't it? It was going to add up to like £1 million a week or something, with his kind of bonuses that he's earning, etc. Um, and it's a very unfortunate situation, and it's a situation that Man United find themselves in. The ones that excite me the most, I'll be honest with you, out of these six guys, Gvardiol, I believe he's like 19, 20, can play left back and centre back, I want to say, maybe even right back. I'm not too sure. But this guy, again, and I don't want to, I don't want to relate this to kind of like FIFA or Football Manager, but I mean, there's a reason that these guys are like have high potential on these types of games, because the people that uh, go and watch them and have to scout them for these games are seeing something that they're going to be a big star in the future, and I think it's important that Manchester United need to go out there and buy these types of players. I mean, Luis Diaz, obviously, not many people I want to say knew about him whilst he was at Porto. Obviously, the I mean, some players can find it a little bit difficult to adapt. I mean, look, Bruno came from Sporting and was, I mean, pretty good signing for us. I mean, maybe I'll go even as far as saying the best signing post Fergie. Realistically, I mean, if it's not him, he's going to be up there, right? Vlahovic, exciting again. I mean, look, he's been. I'm not sure about this season, but he was doing the right numbers for Juventus. I know Juventus are kind of falling off a little bit, but Morata's the one where I'm a little bit like, Rangnick, what's going on there? Then what's going on with your thought process with Morata? Maybe he's seeing something, because when he came to the Premier League, he didn't really do much. But I mean, when he's done it for, he scored goals for Juventus. He scored goals for Atletico Madrid. Although Atletico Madrid right now are stinking the place out, but he's been there and done it. He scored goals. But I mean, personally, for Manchester United, no, it's not for me. I'll be honest with you, it's not for me. But they're not. Christopher Nkunku, again, huge talent, man. This guy is so exciting. This guy is, again, I want to say like 23, 24-ish, maybe even younger than that. I'm not too sure off the top of my head. I should have looked at it. But I just think there's so much talent out there. Even if these guys are all untouchable and have all moved on, I think it's just important that we get out there and we get amongst it and we challenge for these signings. Look, and I'm going to say it, ready? I'm going to say it. We're Manchester United. We're Manchester United, and we need to be the Manchester United that goes out there. We shouldn't even have to. I mean, we do. I'll be honest with you. We do need to compete for signings because we need. We don't have Champions League football. We're not. We're not challenging for Premier League titles at this current moment. So we need to, give them a little bit of, bit more dough, bit more of an incentive to join us. But hopefully, the further we progress through the season, and look, it's ironic. Frankie de Jong said he didn't want to join Manchester United because there was no Champions League football. Obviously, we're in the Europa League. Now, look, how ironic is that? They're in the Europa League now. And I guarantee if we come second in this Europa League group, we will get Barcelona. I actually promise you. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. But again, Tank is saying, surprised Lima isn't on there. Yeah, Conrad Lima, however you say his name. Apologies if I'm getting it wrong. But again, another pretty important guy that was mentioned in the summer transfer window, and I think again an important number 6 kind of centre mid CDM role that he plays. It would be another good signing, whether it's squad depth or kind of whatever way you look at it. And I think again, it's just such a I'll be honest with you, and I hate to swear at 10:23 on a Thursday morning. It's a shit situation to be in. I'll be honest with you. Mark says it there. We are Manchester United, but the board operated like Macclesfield. I keep reading out just Mark. I just feel like there's loads of Marks in the chat today. Shout out you, Mark. But yeah, no, I mean, to kind of round off the point on obviously how Rangnick has and I like the fact that he's not necessarily exposing anyone here, I guess, but he's just letting the people know that he wanted to go out there and he had the intent of buying players. Because look, as I said at the start, we weren't going to buy every single one of these. They all play similar positions apart from Gvardiol. So yeah, I mean, look, the intent is the exciting thing. And I think Manchester United need to show more intent in the transfer market. And I think when you look at Ten Hag, what he's done, as I said, what he's capable of doing with this squad, what the signings have done, that his signings, Eriksen, Martinez, Anthony, obviously, whether Casemiro was one of his signings, it's not looking like it really was. Obviously, he wanted De Jong, but ended up with Casemiro. Again, unbelievable player. And it shows what he's got, especially Martinez, right? Martinez is absolutely incredible. I tweeted to think that his height was ever in question. I mean, it's ridiculous. And he's arguably our signing of the season. Definitely our signing of the season so far. I mean, I was saying it as well when we were linked to obviously Eriksen, whether he was just going to be a bit part player, what role was he going to play, etc. And look, Eriksen has been outstanding for us for the majority of the season as well. And you just got to back Ten Hag. He's signed brilliant players. And you just got to back him. And not necessarily expect, but you've got to look at him signing more brilliant players in the future, and that is what Manchester United have got to go out and do. We've got to sign exceptional talent, exceptional young talent. We've got to capitalize on the market. We got to compete with the likes of the teams around us. Obviously, I mean, look, Conte has already put a statement out or in an interview saying that the board know that they need to, sign players in January. The squad isn't good enough to compete for what they're wanting to. And look, whether the board has actually said to him, we're going to sign some players, he is now, kind of in returns by saying that, put pressure on the board to make signings, because whether or not they've said that, he's now come out and said it. So if they don't, basically Conte's made the board look a bit, like a bit stupid, really, because if he's saying the board have said they'll sign players and then they don't end up signing anyone, well, it makes it look a bit silly, I'll be honest with you. So, I just feel like January is going to be very, very important. Speaking about January, we'll move on now to some possible contract talks. And we can bring the tweet up on screen. And this is coming in from Laurie Whitwell. Manchester United have a decision to make on David De Gea's year option. Erik Ten Hag will take the lead. It is plausible that Manchester United will offer an extension on reduced terms. And the goalkeeper search is underway in case Ten Hag wants a new number one. Diogo Costa and Unai Simon, or Simon, however you pronounce it, among those scouted. Now, I do want to get a quick poll actually in the chat if we can get one. And I want to get your guys' opinion on who you guys would pick from out of Diogo Costa and Unai Simon, who you guys would actually prefer in terms of a new number one for Manchester United. There's obviously other goalkeepers that have been mentioned. God, I couldn't get my words out then. There's actually other goalkeepers that have been mentioned. Obviously, the likes of David Raya from Brentford, Sanchez, the Brighton goalkeeper as well, is obviously, I mean, look, it's just Spanish goalkeepers. We just love a Spanish goalkeeper. Obviously, Costa is Portuguese, I want to say again. Young goalkeeper, exciting talent, playing for Porto. And look, yeah, you guys are saying Diogo for sure. I mean, look, I actually thought Unai Simon was a lot older, but he's actually only like 24, 25. And goalkeepers obviously can blooming play for forever, it seems. Play for forever. So, yeah, get your votes in on the poll. Buddy, 79% already for Costa. Incredible scenes. And I think, yeah, he's going to be, I mean, he's not going to be. He is, and it seems he is a huge fan favorite at the minute. And I think it's important that. I mean, look, we don't really need to. I mean, Ten Hag doesn't need to listen to fans, but look, he's been a target for a while now, it seems. So it's important. But I'm also keen to know what you do in this situation, guys, with David De Gea's contract. Obviously, he is playing very good at the minute, right? He's showing that he has improved on his distribution, on his sweeping sometimes, and, playing out from the back. But let's not forget, he is one of the highest earners. I think he's probably like the second highest paid or third highest paid player at Manchester United. He's on a ridiculous amount of money. I imagine there'll be some. I think Ten Hag came out because it's obviously not just him that needs contract talks. I think Dallow's involved in this as well. And this basically is going to be sorted, I imagine, by early next year, January, February, obviously, because I think there's a time period where, teams can then approach a player to get them and agree terms for then obviously kind of a free deal, which is obviously not what we want, especially with Dalot. I believe Barcelona and Real Madrid were or are both interested. So we don't want obviously hear him getting snapped up. I do think he will stay a Manchester United player in all honesty. But for me, I think I have no hesitation at this current moment in time in offering David De Gea a new contract. But in my opinion, I think it needs to be a short-term deal, whether it is a 1 or 2 year deal. And it definitely needs to be, as the tweet says, on reduced terms. 100%. He needs to come down. He needs to come down because it's not ideal that he is obviously earning so much money. And especially I think if we do go into the contract negotiations with him, and we obviously do bring him on again on a kind of 1 or 2 year deal, I think we do need to look at bringing in another goalkeeper and having him as the number two. So obviously that means that I mean, whether Dubravka and Tom Heaton stay around, I honestly couldn't really care less. In all honesty, I'd like to see Dubravka play soon, to be fair, just to see what he's all about. But I don't really see it happening. But yeah, I think I think if De Gea does sign a new 1 or 2 year deal, someone and Wobbo is saying pick neither of them, stick with David De Gea. This is the thing, right? Do you stick? This is what I'm saying. I'm happy to stick with him. I'm happy to stick with David De Gea for another year or two, but there needs to be another goalkeeper brought in at some point, right? So why not have it now? So, and then, we can capitalize on him learning off of De Gea, and then obviously eventually taking up that number one mantle. I think it's I mean, I don't even want to talk about Dean Henderson, and I've seen a few comments coming in about Dean Henderson. I don't even want to talk about him. He shouldn't, in my opinion, I wouldn't have him play for Manchester United. Obviously, I think however the season goes with Forest, I think we just offload at the end of the season, get kind of 15, 20 million for him, in all honesty. But yeah, I mean, let me know in the comments, would you guys one, extend David De Gea's contract? I'm seeing a lot of people obviously agree, but also there's the Dean Henderson issue that needs to be resolved as well. So it's a difficult situation we're in. But we'll look at the poll quickly. Have a look. Costa 78% as the new number one. Simon as the remaining 22%. Interesting. Tank saying here, David De Gea as future goalkeeper coach would be ideal. Well, I imagine, look, when players reach a certain age, they do actually try and do their coaching badges and stuff. And look, I mean, when David De Gea has been at Manchester United over 10 years now, so when you've been involved and I mean, look, he moved to England at a young age, and when you've been here for so long, obviously, I don't know if it's going to be as simple as kind of moving away. He would have built a family here, whether he brought family over. That I imagine they're all near enough, kind of in and around England, and maybe it's not as simple as just kind of going back to Spain. But it'll be interesting to see how the David De Gea situation. I can't get my words out. It's too early. It's too early. It will be interesting to see how the David De Gea situation unfolds. There we go. Yeah, because I think regardless, if he has an incredible season, I think obviously fans will get on the bandwagon, obviously giving him a new contract. Which again, if he's going to play incredible, then I don't have any qualms against that, in all honesty. But yeah, I mean, look, we'll get if we can get another poll actually, because a lot of people are asking, would you extend David De Gea's contract? Just simple. Would you extend David De Gea's contract? Yes, no. Let's get another poll. We'll end that one. On Costa winning comfortably. It's not going to change, is it? It's not going to change. 78% Costa, Simon at 21%. But yeah, just simple as someone saying release De Gea. I mean, we can't do that. We can't be releasing De Gea. Here we go. Poll up on screen. You can see now. Would you extend David De Gea's contract? I'm going with yes. Obviously, terms there will be different people's opinions on this in terms of how many years, how much money, etc. But we're not thinking about that. It's just a simple. Would you extend David De Gea's contract? Excuse me. I would personally, but only on the stipulation of like 1 or 2 years and a reduce in salary, in my honest opinion. But yeah, it'll be interesting also to see kind of what happens with Diogo Dalot. His contract needs to be negotiated, and again, I don't think that's a question a lot of people will obviously want to, kind of get him on another bumper contract. Just hope his performances don't dip. But ahead of tonight's game, obviously huge game against Sheriff. I'm pretty confident, I'll be honest with you guys, going into this game. I mean, look, we can, and again, I can kind of relate this to the transfer news, because I think we could play a second string 11 against these guys, and we should be beating them, right? It shouldn't even really be a question. But you relate it to Rangnick wanting to go and sign all these guys and bolster the squad. And look, would this have been an issue? Would this have been an issue in terms of squad depth if Rangnick was around and not necessarily suggesting, because I'm sure there are other people, or Ten Hag even suggesting his own players, but you know, we need. I just feel like a Ten Hag and Rangnick combination would have been a very good combination to have in terms of signing players. Rangnick's advisory role, as I said, I think it just would have been really cool to see. Unfortunately, obviously, we're not going to see it. The Samoan is actually saying here, and we can I'll touch on this quickly. Hope Martial will play tonight. He's still injured. I'll be honest with you, he's still injured. We can bring another tweet up on screen. Erik Ten Hag on Anthony Martial. He's improving. He's back on the pitch, training pitch. Not in the group, so we have to wait for that step. But hopefully he's quickly back. So he's not going to be back, my friend. Apologies for being the bearer of bad news, but he isn't. He isn't going to be back. He isn't going to be back anytime soon. I'll be honest with you. Well, I mean, hopefully soon, but he isn't going to be back for tonight, so he's not going to be playing. Be interesting to see if Ronaldo will play. Be very interesting to see that. 74% are saying that David De Gea, they would extend David De Gea's contract. Interesting. It's pretty substantial vote. 25% saying no. I wonder what the thoughts are in terms of that as well. Why people are saying they wouldn't extend. But no, Diogo Costa, look, I'm pretty sure he saved 2 penalties in the Champions League and had like 3 clean sheets or something like that. He's playing very good. He obviously got that assist as well. Absolutely pinged it. I don't even know who it was to, but absolutely pinged it. And the guy ran like, I don't know, just I think he pinged it over the halfway line and ran and scored anyway. It was pretty good. It was pretty incredible. But as I was saying, basically, if we had a bigger and better squad, we could afford to rotate and rest players going into this game. Not even necessarily this game, but the ammonia games that we played. Because if I know how important this is, and obviously he's going to want to win this game because we have to win this game, and then obviously beat Sociedad in order to, well, I think because obviously if Sociedad win as well tonight, then we have to beat them by, I don't know if it's just 1 goal. I don't know what the goal difference is, but we need to beat them obviously by a certain amount of goals in order to overtake them, because we'll end up on the same points because we would have both had 1 loss and it would have been to each other. So it'll be interesting to see how it ends up. But if we had a bigger and better squad in terms of squad depth, etc., then we could afford to rotate the team. We could afford to rest our key players. Like Dalot has pretty much played every single minute, near enough. You've obviously got Martinez, who's played near enough every single minute. I know he came off at half time a while back. I don't know if it was a Brentford game or something, but he's involved in every single game. And Rashford, Anthony, Eriksen, these guys are just being involved all the time. I know Eriksen was obviously ill the other week, but look, these players have just got to have a rest at some point. So it's just a difficult situation to kind of be in my opinion. It's a tough one, a very, very tough one. But obviously get your thoughts in the comments section. I want to get score predictions quickly, actually. Put your score predictions in the comments section of what you think tonight's score will be. I'm going to go with what am I going with? I'm going with a 3-1 win. I think we will. Oh no, we can't concede, can we? We can't concede. I think just because Varane's obviously not playing, so that means either Lindelof or Maguire. If Maguire starts, I don't think we've won a game this season where Maguire has started. Right? You got to start somewhere. 4-0, a lot of 2-0, 4-0. Okay, 3-0. It's interesting, you guys. 5-0, 3-0. Yeah, we love to see it. Everyone's confident. I like it. Confidence is key. I like it. But we're going to end the show there, guys. Appreciate everyone for watching. Thank you for sticking around. I know a lot of people love to see Mark on these shows, but I hope I can brighten up your day in the morning on a Thursday at 10 a.m. You love to see it. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. Leave a like on the video. And we'll catch you tonight for a 8 p.m. show, I believe. I'm not sure who is on that. I imagine Mark will be. But yeah, lots of love. Oh, it's a watch along. Yeah, of course it is. What am I doing? God, Manchester United fan. God, my arse. It's a bloody watch along. Of course it is. We're playing Sheriff, Charlie. Get a grip. Get a grip. Anyway, yeah. We'll see you for the watch along.
hopefully, yeah, 7 p.m. start. Obviously, I'm going to go with an 8 p.m. kickoff. It must be something like that, 8 p.m. kickoff. But 7 p.m. start. Be there or be square. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Leave a like, and we'll see you for the watch.